Thank you for this invitation, and I'm so happy to be part of this. To start with, I am Sheeba Dawood, and I have done my PhD in nanoscience. And I came to US in 2016, graduated in 2020. So, talking about the project that you were just mentioning, while I was doing PhD, and we were studying about batteries and as researchers and scientists, we did realize that batteries are going to be the next big thing in the coming years in 2018 itself. And that is when, while I was researching about batteries, I realized that critical minerals are very important to build those batteries. But where are those resources? How are we getting those resources? And that kind of stayed with me. And whichever conference that I was attending, I was seeing a lot of people talking about batteries again, but not really about the critical minerals. And I understood the importance of it. And there were a number of programs that helped me to understand more. There was National Science Foundation ICOP program. They helped to do customer discoveries and really find out if there is need. If it doesn't happen, like if you think and there's a product need out there in the market. So for that, I had to do customer discoveries. I was selected regionally. I did 50 interviews, and that even increased my interest even more. And then I got on to national level, and they had funded about $50,000, and that money has to be used, to do customer discovery, to travel all over the world and get what is needed. So I traveled, and I would say that I did have anxiety attacks, even in the plane. I remember those days where I had to actually get down one of the flight because of the anxiety attack that I had, because sleepless nights, and it was an intensive program, 6-week program. And we had mentors, and on Monday I had to go, and within 4 days I had to get interviews physically done, traveling in different places. And by Friday we had to do the presentation, built a business model around it. At that point of time I really felt stressful, but that is what made me, that was in the process making me what I am today. So that's how I feel it. So I did about 200 customer discoveries. I interviewed CEOs, I interviewed salespersons, I interviewed people who are in the field, process engineers, all of them. And I was able to understand the whole ecosystem and the need that there is for critical minerals, and that's going to grow immensely. And that's how I was able to do. So right now what we are trying to do, Minerva Lithium, we're trying to build a filter system that can actually extract or recover valuable minerals like lithium, nickel, cobalt. All of this built the batteries. So get these minerals so that we can build the batteries from the wastewater resources, the resources that are already available. And to give you an example, we have oil field brines. I want to specifically mention what it is. In oil industries, for every 1 barrel of oil that they get, that they dig out, they get 10 barrels of water. And that is referred as oil field brines or produced water. And that water has lithium in it. So what are they doing with that water? They're just throwing away in drains. You have gold, lithium right now is referred as white gold. What are they doing to the white gold? They're just putting down into drains. And that is when I realized that US does have this resource. And like if you see, the 90% of lithium that we get, US gets, it's from China. And it's not just US, it's also Asian countries like India. They all get it from China. China is a hub for production. So then we do have resources here. So that is when we, changing this waste and also environmentally sustainability and renewable. So this is what, as a researcher, my focus was, and we have the resource here. So we developed these filters, trying to get minerals out so that we can position United States in this supply chain. And that's our vision. I was brought up in India, and my parents, both of them were educated, and they have done their masters, and my mother is in English literature, and they both. What I have seen is they both run schools. I mean, they are they have established themselves on their own, not dependent on anyone. They didn't get anything from their parents. The only thing that they got was education, and they used it very well. And they started schools, and that's how they started their journey. And coming to me, we are siblings. We have 4 siblings, and we have like elder sister and then brother, and then it's me, and I have a younger sister. Even today I still keep asking my parents, you have a son, you had a daughter, why me then, you know? I was like, you have all of them, then why me? I keep joking, and she's like, you know, I gave you birth and this is what you're asking me all the time. uh, but maybe now she says that it is for a reason. I somehow we were a happy family, and also privileged, I would say, in India, because most of them do not have access to education. And also being a girl child, uh, many times, you know, they say that education is not necessary. Most of the times things have changed. But while I was growing up, and also my father is from Islam and my mother is Christian, but still that kind of, you know, the family that he comes from, you know, it comes from a family where they don't really let their children study after, you know, it's just till the school, but not after that. But I was fortunate enough, and that's what I see it. We all of us are educated. My elder sister, she have done double MBA, and she's in San Francisco. My elder brother, he's a doctor in Germany, and I'm here. And my younger sister, she's pursuing her MBA in United Kingdom. So they made sure that they're, you know, girl or boy, they haven't seen any kind of difference. Whatever the society was saying, you know, control girls, they need education, they're going to get married, husbands are going to take care of them. They didn't heed to any of it. And they really looked at my dreams, you know, what I wanted to do. And to be very honest, my mother is my inspiration in everything. I still remember, I keep telling her, I still remember one incident where she was the only woman, and there were like 1,000 people, like parents and all of them guests coming together, and there was an issue, and she was the only one who was addressing it. And I could see the leadership skills in her. I was just 5th standard, I was playing in the garden, but I looked at her, and I really that image is still in my eyes. Like, I always think about it. She did everything on her own. And even back then, you know, India is progressing, but even back then it was so difficult for her to get education. And she did tell me how she traveled to different places to get her education done. She had to stay in relative places. She had to stay in very uncomfortable situations to pursue her education, because it was not that accessible. At my point of time, my parents made sure they paid for me, so that I don't face that same problem. So she played a very significant role, and she was just talking to all of those people, and there were more men than women in that crowd, but she was able to address it, and she was able to solve their issues, and everyone went happily. And they were like, you know, no one can really have anything against this madam, you know, she's so powerful. So that stayed with me. And when I saw her addressing, I didn't really see that aggressiveness or that dominant. I saw one kind of balance in her. She knows what she's doing. And I didn't see any kind of arrogance. That's what I wanted to say. So that balanced nature and that leadership and belief that she had in herself. And I was like, I want to become like her. My parents, they earned so much, but I was like, no, I want to do everything from scratch. I want to build everything from scratch and say, this is mine. So I really wanted that, and maybe God heard me. I really feel that way. Really, He heard me, and when I got an opportunity, I just went and grabbed it, and today I'm here building things on my own. I did my master's in India and bachelor's in India, and then master's I did in Australia. And I would say that played a very significant role. That was my first time international experience, and also exposure to different cultures and communities. And I don't forget that experience. It really built me what I am today. Because when you're in India, you know, you're people who look alike, who think alike, and everything is, you know, there's really nothing to worry about or learn. There's nothing that I could learn. We come from multicultural background, and but still there were some things that I really didn't know. You know, there are different ways people express, and you know, for different cultures things are different. In German, you know, you cannot wish German people from German on their birthday. So I didn't know that until I went to Australia and met all these different people. So when I went to Australia, that I got exposed to people from Italy, Malaysia, China, and Japan. All of this, they were all in my research group. So that's what is the beauty of research and science, that there are different people working on project, and there are different people trying to make life of all other people better. And that was a beautiful experience. And when I went there, I don't know, now most of the people don't believe that I was very timid. I didn't know how to express myself. I had stage fear. I used to not come and really talk. So I had those issues. But when I went there, and I still remember what my professor said, and they were a project, and we did have some issues among the group, and I wasn't raising my voice. I was so afraid and timid that I kept it to myself, and I was going through that pain and suffering all by myself, not knowing how to reach out to him. And my professor was a big man. He's a Justin Cooper White. I don't forget his advice till now. So I could only interact with him like thrice in a week or something. So then there was a meeting, and we have to give updates of what research we have done. I didn't have anything because people were not being helpful in that group. We had issues there. So I had to go to him, and I started to cry. So that's what I am. I'm sensitive as a person, and I couldn't fight for myself. And I just started crying. And then he looked at me and he said, you are 21. You're so naive, and I was like, I think I cannot do this, and I cannot talk that way. Maybe I need to go back. And he said, you're 21. You travel to a different country, which is completely far away, and you came to a new culture. And I only see a brave girl here. I don't see a timid girl. You came all by yourself. So I also know that you will be able to do. So what I want you to learn is you need to stand up for yourself. You need to fight for yourself. And when you do that, no one can really come and stamp over you. And that stayed with me. And after that, there was, it was a learning experience, and I learned how to come out of that. And I became much more interactive. And if there is a poster presentation, I used to raise my hand. If there is any opportunity that used to come all my way, I used to just grab it, because he just said opportunities are many out there. If one is not working, there is something else that can work out for you. But it all depends upon my perception and attitude, how I see things. So that is what he taught me. And after an year, I went back to India, and like I said, I helped my parents for 3 years, just looking after the school. And then I felt that it's time for me to pursue my PhD. Like I said, my parents never stopped me from pursuing. They were getting old, but they were like, still, you can go and do what you want, because that's what make you happy. So I applied here in US. I came in US in 2016, and when I came here, it was beautiful experience. We had all people again, from all different parts of the world, and learning new cultures. And so that's how we started out. So this begins with something like, when I was kid, I always wanted to do something very different. I don't want to get lost in the crowds. That's the reason, if you actually see my career, I have kept choosing paths where people have said it is difficult, and where people have said it is impossible. The moment you come and tell me it's impossible, that's when it that you are trying to do that to me, and that is when I start to work towards it. So that has been my character. And about science is that is what the whole universe is created with, right? So most of the people don't you can do things different in science. You're not stuck. Your growth is not stuck, and it's creative. There's also critical thinking in it when you're doing it, and that excites me. There are a number of jobs. I don't say that I'm not putting down those jobs, but usually there's no much growth. You're doing something monotonously, the same thing again and again, over and over. But in science, what I have realized, that in research especially, what you see is you're creating new things, or you're redesigning the new things, you're improving the things for the for the better life. And that is what I have learned in science. And till my master's, I was not able to really discover what I wanted. Let me be honest here. I wanted to become doctor because like I said, I always wanted to be in a very higher position doing something. But when I was getting more deeply involved in the medical subjects and all of that, I felt that it's not for me. And then I was trying to see here and there, and then there was this course, nanotechnology, in India. That's the first time that came in India, and there was no, there's no other college that was offering. And like I said, I always wanted to do something different, not following the crowd. I said, my dad, maybe that's for me. And I just entered into it. And then we had a president of our country. He's Abdul Kalam. And he was giving a talk. He had a very different character apart from politics. He was he was a scientist, and he was working in ISRO. And I used to just keep hearing about him. And that when politicians, when they have knowledge and when they speak about it, you feel like listening to them. Oh man, this politician is smart. That's what I used to admire him. And that's the first time I heard nanoscience from him. And I was like, this is something. And I went further and I pursued it, and I could see then still I was trying to figure out, because we didn't really have a lot of practical knowledge. It was just in books and theory until I went to Queensland. That is when I was able to create materials and also analyze those materials at nanoscale. When I say nanoscale, like you have this one strand of your hair, it is almost 1/10 of the 100,000 of the meter. That small. So I was able to create the materials at that scale. I was able to see there's instrumentations which I can see. I can manipulate the properties, and I can improve it. Like if there is your sunscreen, I can put titanium, or I can put zinc oxide particles into it, and I can increase its UV radiation, So that's what was interesting, you can just do at that nanoscale level. And I was able, so that also built up my interest and how we can improve things. Nanotechnology as such, it actually exists from ages. It's not something that it has just come now. But what I would say is that the science behind it helps to improve the things that we already have. Improve your electronics, improve medical devices. So these kind of, it has a huge contribution. So it can improve the properties and also applications of already existing systems. So I'm also a pastor, and I'm trying to build this church, and I've just got a licensed pastor. So I keep reading Bible, and I find a way to really. Many people have read Bible, but many people really don't understand a lot of things. That's what I always felt whenever I have interactions. And I really so from my PhD, I have really learned how to express, how to break down things, and how to explain concepts. So I felt, and I am applying the same thing while I'm talking about Bible. So that's how I've been building up myself. And otherwise, yes, I serve as a pastor in a church, and that's my other startup that I have founded in 2020. It's called Emmanuel Ministries, and right now I have 25 people internationally attending, and I also at home. And even last month they featured me in their magazine, because I'm a scientist and also a follower of Christ, which is a rare thing to find. So that is the other thing that I do most of the time. So I would say that yes, when I was here, and while I'm working at research, and when I say, I'll pray about it, I do get weird looks. So I definitely get weird looks, and I'm like, okay, I get it, because scientists are supposed to not really believe in God. So that's how they see it. But for me, what I would say is God is creator, and I believe in that strongly. And if I am today, whatever I'm doing today, it's because I believe that He's with me, and He's the one who is leading me into all of this. So I try to I don't try to complicate things. Understand the concept, apply it, and then I don't go over the board. Anything that I do, even if it is my research in science, I see that my feet is grounded, and and the wisdom that comes to me, I rather go to God and humble myself and put myself down, but not equal to God. So that's how I see it. What my mother has given to me today, it's not about education, or it's about the character that she built in me. Wherever I go, how do I behave with people, what I do to people who are in need, all of those values are very important. She instilled that strong character in me. And if tomorrow nothing works for me, I'm not going to shatter, or I'm not going to steal or kill myself. I know how to move forward in my life. That is very important. So all those characters, I have learned looking at her. And my baby, she has to look at me and she has to see the same things in me. I would say that it was not an easy journey. There were a number of challenges. But like I already mentioned, attitude of a person really matters a lot. I mean, how you look at things matters a lot. There are a lot of people who look at failure and they think that is the end. But I look at failure in a different way. I'm not saying that I don't cry over it or I don't get disappointed. I get disappointed the most, and I want to give up immediately. My immediate reaction is like, I'm giving up. But I go back when I take time, and that is when I try to analyze things. And I'm like, no, I came this far. I am not going to give up here. And that is how I pick myself and I move forward. So the difference, there are many smart people in this world, right? But only few see that success. Then I used to see about the people who are actually successful in this, who are successful businessmen or women. I look at their character. What I see in them is that perseverance. What I see them, the way they look at things. They don't look at failure as failure. Because if there are so many smart people, everyone has to see that success, but only few are having that success. It's because of their attitude and how they see things. And that's what I have been, getting those traits. Like for even, I don't need to read about Elon Musk to really understand about success. Even my professor, my mom, and it could also be you. We all are going through challenges. It's not just some big person or someone who earns a lot is going through challenges. We all go through challenges. There is something to learn from each person. I would say that the differences exist everywhere, and I have seen that everywhere. And what I believe is, first thing I would say, I have somehow developed thick skin towards most of it. And sometimes what I feel is there's no point wasting energy in really fighting for those. And I feel that let me move my way towards it, and when I am success, they will just follow me. Are you getting my point? Like, that's
Absolutely.
how I have seen it. And also there's one intellectual level, and there are people who wants to collaborate you based on your intellectual smartness, right? And those kind of people really don't see where you come from, what you carry, or what is your color, what is the color of your skin, and what is your accent, or where are you from. They really don't care if you are really smart intellectually. And I collaborate with those people. And if there are some people who look at all of this, and I'm like, thank you, and I just make my move. And that's how I've been, because I have developed that. I definitely got affected initially. They were not like harsh or something. They're very subtle. They're very, you really cannot go to another person and say that this is what happened to you. They're in that very micro and very subtle level. But I used to I was, like I said, I was a sensitive person, and really get, what is this, it bothers you. It also sometimes bothers you to such an extent that you really can't focus on your work. But I was like, what is this doing to me? I'm not growing because of this. And I have worked so hard to come here. So I'm not letting these people like down on me. And also I have a way to go, move forward. I will not let them hinder my growth. So let me move forward. And there are other set of people who are actually helping you out there, who are trying to help you, who are trying to help you so that you progress in your life. So I rather associate myself with them. So that's how I have seen it, and I have learned to get through it. I have been reading, one of the book which is called Success Entrepreneur. And when I opened the first few pages, there was about, and I actually started reading that when I was pregnant, and I discontinued after that because I had a lot of work, but I definitely want to get back. And when I was reading that book, even the lady was pregnant actually. And she was working for a software company, and she just expressed all, she just expressed all the things that she had to go through carrying, she was becoming heavier and heavier, how people at work were looking at her, and those sore legs and all of that, and still how she got through, how she got funding. That really helped me. And immediately after my delivery, within 15 days, I had to go back to work. And all those lines were just coming, and I got very heavy, and I was so uncomfortable in my skin. But work is important. I have to be there no matter how I look right now and how I feel from inside right now. So but she was like, her work was important, so that's how she kept going. I was like, okay, she kind of inspired me, and I had to remember those lines and keep myself going. So I definitely want to get back to that book. After coming here, I did have a lot of friends who were Americans, and we used to hang out and all of that. But what I used to see, they used to be so fascinated about our cuisine. They used to be so fascinated about Bollywood. So I didn't really make any effort to mingle with them. So that kind of stood out in me. And so they were like, oh, Sheeba, can you make butter chicken? Or can you do something like, chicken tikka and all of that? And that actually helped to break that ice between us. And we used to go for potlucks, and I used to make this food, and that's how the friendship, we started to have that friendship. It was actually over the food that helped me. Thank God I know cooking. So that helped me. And I would say that we do have a very large Indian group. But I always keep telling them, I have in my school too, Indians are hanging out together, Americans are hanging out together, and that's what I have seen a lot here in Greensboro. And the Nigerians are hanging out by themselves. They go to their own church. These people go to their own church. It's like a lot of isolation that I see. And there are people like me. I would like to hang out with Nigerian. I would like to hang out with American. But sometimes it becomes difficult because they talk in their own language. If it is American, it's fine, but somewhere, that gap needs to be filled. But that's what I have seen a lot here. I have been to Australia. It wasn't that way. We all used to be together, and it was fun. But here, there's a lot of isolation that I felt when I came here. I want to mingle out with you, come on, but I didn't have that easiness here. That's what I've realized. So I would say, if you ask me, what do you want to do one thing culturally, I would say that in downtown I would like to have like a cultural program. All cultural people just come and mingle with each other, get to know each other, and try to, there's so much to learn from each other. So I would actually do that for one thing, and this is also the complaint that I keep having all the time. And otherwise, yeah, there's a lot of Indian groups, like Indian associations and all of that. So I'm part of it. But I take blend of everything. So even in bringing up my child, there are certain things that I like in American culture, disciplining your child, and I'm taking certain things from there. And then I like certain things from Indian culture, so I take those things. Hopefully she will like all of them. I would just like to thank you first for this wonderful opportunity, and for thinking of me that I could, I could be of some importance here. So I'm really humbled that you have given me this opportunity. And definitely, if there is something that I could be of any help, any way, I'll be happy to do that. So I just wanted to let you know that.